Hi everyone, I'm Astro Coach Amy. Welcome to my show, The Divine GPS Navigator. We're going to be focusing this evening on the moon in your birth chart. We have a lunar eclipse that's occurring on August 7th, and we have a solar eclipse that will be occurring on August 21st with almost total visibility in some parts of the United States and around the world. These important cycles will set the tone for the next 6 months, both spiritually, physically, and emotionally. It's good to review what was happening about 6 months ago during the last eclipses to see how far you've come, and to reflect on what you'd like to accomplish during these next 6 months. So we're going to talk about the moon in your chart and how it impacts you on a daily basis. Now, some days you may feel great, and other days things may feel so challenging and difficult. The chances are that these are days that the moon is receiving some challenging aspects from the other planets to those parts of your chart. And it does impact the way you relate to other people. Now, the moon is one of our most important planets, but least understood. It's complex, it's mysterious. And it's a subject that, when well understood, it can make a huge difference in your life. It's really important that when you have a good natal chart interpretation, that the astrologer can give you a clear interpretation, so you have a better understanding of who you are and why you feel the way you do. Now, the moon rules our deep unconscious desires, and we can think of it as our inner child. It's really that part of us that was so young when these deep emotional experiences impacted us really on a psychic or cellular level. It's connected to some of our earliest memories, and probably from birth even to about 4 years old. Now, most of these memories have been forgotten, and they have not been accessible to us previously. However, part of our journey as human beings is we experience emotional triggers in our daily life. Some are very small, and some are much more impactful. So we'll use an example that many of us unfortunately know, which is we may have been in a relationship, or perhaps we are, and it suddenly ends and we just weren't prepared. And it triggers all kinds of feelings of grief, perhaps anger, sadness, there's abandonment. But the gift in it is it may also trigger some earlier experiences that we had as a very young child, when perhaps there might have been an illness or a death. Or perhaps our parents actually did separate ways. And as a child, this made a deep impression upon us. So then in current life, when something happens to trigger this, it feels so real that we're sure it's all connected to what's happening now. However, that isn't necessarily the case. But the good news is, as we work on healing these aspects, doing the forgiveness work, and really looking at our part, we are free to open a new chapter in our lives and really welcome love from all areas that we hadn't even known about before. Now, as we look at the moon and we recognize that these patterns or energies that we see in our chart, some of them are very harmonious, which an astrologer can point out, and I'm sure you can feel the ones that are more challenging. And of course, these help us grow. But what's important to know is you didn't cause these. You can't really cure them or change them until you grow emotionally and spiritually and mentally. So the good news is, by having a good interpretation, you can be able to separate the difference between these challenging and harmonious aspects. And you can learn more about your own desire to give and receive love, express your own emotional needs, and how you can set clear boundaries with those people you care about so you can feel safe and secure. Now, we have a great opportunity that's coming up. So let's take a brief look for the moon sign, so you can think about yourself, how you want to grow, and what you'd like to accomplish in these next few months, so that truly you can have a wonderful new experience. Now, again, the aspects, whether they're harmonious or challenging, are what are going to really cover our color, our world, and our experience. But just in a brief picture, the moon in the fire sign of Aries, they tend to be idealistic, self-directed. They tend to have strong freedom needs. They can be a little bit childlike and sometimes self-centered. Just depends on the other planetary influences. Earth sign of Taurus, they tend to be very loyal. They really value their material stability. They're sensuous people. They prefer to keep things calm, and they don't necessarily want to express their emotional needs and concerns. But the moon in the air sign of Gemini just wants to keep things light. They'd rather talk intellectually than feel those feelings. They like to have fun, and they can be great friends. The moon in the water sign of Cancer is the strongest place in the zodiac for the moon. These tend to be people very concerned about their emotional security. They're very sensitive. They may take things personally, and this can cause some challenges in their relationships. There's the moon in Leo. Leo, they tend to be very romantic and childlike. They want to be loved, and they want to be admired by those people they love and care about. And they do often strive for attention. Whereas the moon in the earth sign of Virgo is quite different. They tend to analyze their feelings, and they may have come from perfectionism. So they may tend to be very sensitive to criticism and yet be their own harshest critics sometimes. Now, the moon in the air sign of Libra, these are people that are very relationship oriented. And again, they like to keep the peace. So they aren't necessarily going to emotions with you. But again, they're very wonderful people to have around. They're sociable. They have wonderful skills. With the moon in the water sign of Scorpio, tend to be, again, very sensitive people. They're intense and passionate, and some of them have very strong sexual needs. They have a deep fear of abandonment while they long for intimacy. The moon in the fire sign of Sagittarius, these are people with very strong beliefs. They also have strong freedom needs. They like to have fun. They also may discuss their feelings a little more intellectually. They're great philosophers and can be very spiritual people. The moon in the earth sign of Capricorn, these are people that value their security, their stability, and things need to be practical for them. They're also concerned about their family and professional reputation. The moon in the air sign of Aquarius, these are people with strong freedom needs, and they may have very unconventional ideas about relationships. They make wonderful friends, and they may also prefer intellectual discussion rather than sharing their deep emotions. And last but not least, the moon in the water sign of Pisces tend to be very deeply sensitive people. They care about others. They often may want to be involved with people they can care for and take care of. And sometimes they may suffer by overdoing their care. They can be a bit naive in their relationship choices, and they have strong spiritual energy, can be very mystical and creative. So again, these are just very brief descriptions, but what we want to do is use this time wisely. We have about 10 days until the first eclipse. Let's really use this time now and in the month of August. Let's take full advantage of these powerful energies available to us so we can create some exciting new possibilities in our lives these next 6 months. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Astro Coach Amy. Feel free to contact me at astrocoachamy.com. Look forward to talking with you again soon.